Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. In the last video, we installed Oracle VirtualBox on a Windows machine. In today's video, I will be showing you how to install a Linux server on that Oracle VirtualBox. So, our Oracle VirtualBox application is open. We are going to click on Machine, New, and then we will give a name to our Linux server. So in this case, I will call it Centos 7 tutorial. This is the part in which we are going to install our VM. So we can change this part if we want. And here we are going to select the ISO image. So I'm going to have I already downloaded the ISO image. So let me look for it. Here is the ISO image. So I will click on it and then click on open. I'm going to skip this unattended installation because I want to be very active in the installation process. So I will check this box. I'll click on next. Here I'm going to choose the memory. So we have a 2048 megabytes by default. That's 2 gigabytes of RAM, so I will leave it as it is. And for the processors, we have one CPU, so that's fine. I'm going to click on next. By default, we have 20 gigs of gigabytes of hard disk that will be included in this Linux server. So we can also change this if we want, but I'm not really going to be using this server for anything, so I'm just creating it for this tutorial. So I will leave it the way it is, but if you need more space on your Linux server, you can increase the space based on how much your laptop or your desktop has. So I will leave it as it is. Click on next, and this is a summary of all the specifications of the Linux server that we are going to be building. So if I'm satisfied with it, I'm going to click on finish. Before I proceed with the installation, I'm going to show you how to download the ISO image. So this is where I got the ISO image from. So you can download any one you want. For the purposes of this video, I downloaded this one, the minimal 2009.iso. This is the one I'm using. So, but you can use any other one as well. So now we are going to start the installation process. I'll click on this green arrow here. Can X this out. I'll capture the mouse so that I can do stuff in this window, and then I'll hit enter, or I can just wait and the process will continue automatically. So we will just wait until we are prompted to start choosing the different settings that we want for the server. All right, so yeah, we are going to choose the language in which we want our server to be in. So we have English, United States by default. So we are going to leave it the way it is, except we want to choose something else. So I'll click on continue. And then, so we are just going to click on this installation source to see why it's highlighted. So now it looks good. And then installation destination. So we click on it as well. We can see that the server will be installed on the 20 gigabytes of disk space that we have on this Linux server. So we'll click on done. And then we can begin the installation. So we click on begin installation. So while the installation is in progress, we can set the root password, the password for the root account. So I'm going to give the root account a password. It says the password is weak, but that's fine because I'm using this server just for the purposes of this tutorial. I'm not going to be using it in production or whatsoever. So, but if you are going to be using this in a production environment, it's good practice to choose a very strong password. I'll click on done. And then I will create a user account. And the reason why we want to have another account, which we can make an administrative account, is because we don't want to be logging into our server directly using the root account. So it is good practice to log in as another user and then you can switch to root. So I'm going to create an account called student. I will set the password for the student account. Again, it says the password is weak, but that's fine because I'm going to be using this server just for the purposes of this tutorial. So I'll click on this box. I'll check this box in order to make the student an administrator. So, and then I'll click done. So we'll just sit back and wait for the installation process to run through. I'm going to pause this video and resume while when the installation is done, because this part can take a while. So I'll see you when the installation is done. All right, the installation process is now complete. So we are going to, it's prompting us to reboot the server. So I will click on this reboot. And then I'll shut down the server before it reboots. Power off the machine. Okay. And the reason why we are doing that is because we don't want it to reboot from the ISO image. So we are going to come to settings, system, and then we'll uncheck this optical box so that during the boot up process, it shouldn't look for the ISO image, because if it sees the ISO image, it's going to try to install it again the second time. So to avoid that, we tell the system not to look for anything on this drive. So since we are not using the floppy drive as well, I'll uncheck this box. So we will be left just with the hard disk. And I can even make it to be on top of the list. So when we boot up the server, it's going to go into the hard disk and it will see the Linux operating system that has been installed. And that is what it's going to boot up. So, okay. And then we are going to bring up our server. So click on that green arrow. And we'll just wait for the server to come up. So if you noticed, the server, I can't see the server, so it was minimized. I can bring up the window. So now our server is up and it's prompting us to log in. So I'm going to log in as the student user. So I'll use the student account to log in. Enter the password. And I'm now logged in as student. So let me see the IP address of this server. So the server is not able to pick up an IP address automatically. So that means the server is not on the network yet. So I can't communicate with this server if I'm not on the console. If you notice, I can't ping anything else out of this network. It's not going to work. If I try to ping even my router, it won't work as well. So that's the IP address of my default gateway, and it says network is unreachable. So that's because the Linux server is not on the network. So there is a way to fix that. But because I don't want this video to be too long, I'm going to do another video in which I address that problem. So that was it for this video. Like I said, in my next video, I'll be showing you how to pick up an IP address from the network so that this server can be able to communicate with other systems on this network. So I'll see you in my next video, and thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. Bye bye.